inspire.
Before we get started, I just wanted to jump in and let you know that this episode has a POAP. A POAP is a free NFT. It's a thank you for attending the show, for listening to the show, for watching the show. It was illustrated by my guest, FatBaby, and you can find all the details below in the description. There's a link to rips.co/POAP, P-O-A-P, that explains how to claim, what it is, and everything. But just stay tuned, because at some point in this episode, I will jump in and give you the secret code that you need to claim your POAP. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and let's get going. Welcome back to Starting Now. I'm your host, Jeff Sarris. This is the show where I talk to creators of all types and learn the unexpected paths of how they got to where they are today. Today, my guest is Ida Sancho, better known as FatBaby. This is such an amazing episode. I don't want to spend too much time on this preamble, but this is truly a masterclass in creating a generative NFT project, specifically a PFP, profile picture related project. But FatBaby has so much insight, let me say, from creating first Clever Girls NFT, which is an amazing Clever Girls like the Raptors from Jurassic Park. And now she's following up with Raptor City Rascals and taking everything learned from Clever Girls and applying it to the Rascals. And I'm just going to dive right into this episode. This is a wonderful, wonderful episode. I think you're going to get so much out of it. So without further ado, my conversation with FatBaby.
So I've been super busy today. I just collected this jacket.
That is exciting.
It's amazing. It's like really, really cool. This is just the sample. We're testing some stuff. It has a rascal inside. It has lots of details, like all of these patches at the front.
Yeah.
And the scratches on the sleeve. So it's a really cool jacket, because I don't know if you have seen, but Raptor City is all about merging streetwear and basically NFTs. It's a bit too big for me. This is the sample. But yeah, we're super excited. So we are going to make 100 of these. Nice. Because they are super exclusive. And then we are going to sell them as NFTs. And basically you will get the physical jacket. It's a pre-order because you need to tell us your size and where it's delivered. Mm-hmm. But you get the physical jacket, metaverse wearable for Decentraland.
Nice.
And the NFT itself, which we have a really good artist working on the illustration. So we just wanted to test the market and see how this would work. And basically with Raptor City, we have the black market where we open once a month. Mm-hmm. And we have that like this 3D space, and there's this like creature dinosaur that comes every month with some goods. And it's like, selling this stuff. And you can only buy it for 72 hours, and then the creature leaves. And the market is closed. Nice. And we are linking the physical and the digital world and make it fun and, super exclusive as well. Like you have 72 hours. If you want this jacket, there's only 100,
Yeah. I really like how you're bridging the gap now with this. And that was I've seen the little, the Tamagotchis you've been picking up. And I know there's something happening there. And it's really exciting because like taking that physical world and merging it with NFTs. Yeah. Nice. It's such a huge opportunity.
Yes, it is because, so the Tamagotchi stuff is for our next project that I cannot talk about yet.
Yeah.
But we are on the research phase. So I got Tamagotchis for the whole team. Everyone has one. And we are all just, playing with them, experiencing how it is, and taking some data.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we wanted to do, because I started NFTs in March and I have seen so much. And I'm like, okay, what can I do that I haven't seen? And of course, people are doing merch, but the way we are doing it, where you get the same wearable for the metaverse and for the physical world, I think that's pretty cool. And also, if you think about it, people spend a lot of money on NFTs and they just get the NFT. Of course, that's the whole thing. But what if you get something else?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, I really like that. Let me just adjust the audio there. There we go. But yeah, that is so awesome. And I saw the up close image of you picking that up today, and it's all like the stitching and everything. Like it's a high quality garment.
Oh, yeah.
on its
Yeah,
own.
so I'm not sure I can tell you who because basically I'm working with a very famous artist,
Nice.
but they were asked by another very popular collection that I cannot say, but it's so that the most popular of all,
Uh-huh.
to work with them, to do a collaboration, and they are working with them. So I went to their shop and I was like, would you like to work with us? And they were like, yes, that sounds amazing, but we at the moment they are just doing the product for me. So basically I am using their resources for them to produce the garments. It is really, really good quality, like it's padded,
Mhm.
and that's why I went there. Also, something super fun, it has Wacme.
Oh, nice.
And also on the sleeves it has GM and GN.
Nice.
Let me see, because it's in black, I don't know if you will be able to see. But yeah, we have added like all these little. Can you see? I don't think we will be able to.
Yeah, I can't really pick it up, but yeah, there it is. Yeah, that is really smart. I like that.
Yeah, and the thing that is missing is that on the sleeve it will have a QR code that will take you to the collection.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean we want to make sure that when people see this, if you're into NFTs, you have the GN, the Wacme, all this stuff, So yeah, and this is really cool as well. Like this is embroidery and this is screen print.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm so happy with the results, to be honest. And yeah, so it is super quality because we are working with a professional, and I am hoping that after they finish their collab with this other collection, we can actually do a collab, right, where that artist and me create something, and we can talk about it and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that would be awesome. And had you done anything with merch and apparel before this, like on your own? Because you've done a lot. Like, we'll dive into the origin story in a little bit, but yeah, you've done a lot of creative endeavors. Has fashion been anything on your radar before?
So I have a YouTube channel with over 80,000 subscribers and like 8 million views or something. I don't use it anymore. I left like 2 years ago. It was too much work, too much effort, and it was a bit because my channel is very political, so I would get a lot of backlash for being transgender and everything. So it was so toxic, and I didn't make any money. So I was like, investing all my energy and love in this, and so yeah. But for that channel, I learned so much, and I think from that I applied everything that I learned about community management, metadata, all this sort of stuff. I can apply it now into the NFT space and, everything I do. But I did merge for that ages ago, but it was just, your typical t-shirt and your typical hat, that's it. But this time I wanted to design, like our designer has designed this jacket, and we wanted the red inside so that it looks like, bloody or whatever. So everything in this jacket has been designed by our designer, and that's what we want to do, like exclusive streetwear that you cannot see anywhere else. We are also going to have the typical merch of like the logo and stuff, so because this is more VIP, I would say, and it's only for holders, but the other merch is accessible for everybody. But yeah, I'm super interested in designing, because this one is kind of okay, as in, okay, I mean, like you can wear this on a daily basis, and look cool. But we are also interested in creating some like futuristic streetwear and see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. Yeah, all of it. I really like that. And I want to dive completely into Raptor City and the stuff you're doing and like how you drew the team. But first, I do like to rewind and sort of dive into who you are, who FatBaby is, and where you came from. So like going way back, when would you say you sort of found art and found that art was like your thing?
So when I was a little fat baby, no, I mean, always, I loved illustrating always. And my dad my dad had a group of friends, and they would like create these like fantasy stories, and they would illustrate things, and they wanted to do an animation, so I would always see these like fantastical illustrations things around my dad's office. And also my parents always bought me a lot of like fantastical things, as in like fairies books and gnomes. I believed gnomes were real for so long. And I would just go in the forest and think that I'm a bad person because they were not appearing in front of me. But yeah, I mean, I've always been drawing and creating art, and I don't know, it's just something that I'm very interested in. You know, when you do something and you are like so into it, like you are loving it. So I've always done lots of things.
Yeah, and I imagine just the whole world just sort of zooms out when you just get in the zone and you're just really working. What was some of the first stuff that you did then? Were you like drawing sort of just like a little kid? Was it just sort of like crayons or like pencil, or sort of where did you get your start? Because I mean, you've developed this skill over many, many years.
Yeah, so I mean, I consider myself an artist now because I have been, for the first time ever, making money out of my art. Mm-hmm. But before that, it was very difficult to say I'm an artist because capitalism, you know, and everything is linked to, do you make money out of it or not? But yeah, I mean, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Oh no, it's all good. Yeah, sort of where did you start in art?
Yeah. Sorry, my brain is like melting because of all the work I have.
Oh yeah, there's so much.
If I tell you one of the things that I can remember that I started doing, you know, I loved, as a child, I loved Jurassic Park, and I loved dragons and all these kind of creatures. So you know the movie Dragonheart?
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Okay, so it's very beautiful. Well, it's a bit old now, but you know, there's like this big dragon, and it's so beautiful. So I would draw that dragon again and again and again. Like I loved it, and I would also draw like mostly were like mythological creatures. And if I was in my home in Spain, because I'm in London, I would show you some of the drawings. They are so funny. But yeah, I started with that, and then I also, when I was a teenager, I got very into stop motion. And I would just go to the lake in my town with some plasticine, and then, you know, make some creatures and take lots of pictures. And then I would go back home, put it in the computer and play them together, you know. So yeah, those are some of the things that I remember doing when I was very small.
Yeah, that's really fun. Like, and from such an early age to be doing something like stop motion isn't it's not an easy thing to like get right. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. It really just shows sort of your dedication. And I love that dragons in Jurassic Park are sort of from day one, and like coming through with Clever Girls and with Raptor City and everything. Like it's just exciting. It's fun to know that. So your journey took you through a bunch of different areas. So like you said, up until recently, you didn't consider yourself like an artist, like a professional artist. You've been a teacher. You've been doing like content creation, like you mentioned, for YouTube and for other platforms. Sort of, how did that? How did you end up like finding your way to art as a full-time career?
The short answer is NFTs. The long answer is yes, I am a teacher. I went to university to become a teacher. I also studied translation and interpretation of German. I did lots of things because I didn't know what to do, because I knew what I liked. But I thought, you know, that whole thing of like, if you do an artistic career, you are never going to get paid enough, and it's going to be very difficult. So it's like, I would always be like, okay, what are the alternatives? And then I ended up doing studying to be a primary teacher, and that's my degree, and you know, and then the German stuff. But I only went to teach to Thailand for 2 years, which was amazing, and it was very helpful because I was teaching English. I know, unbelievable with this accent, but you know, I was teaching academic English, which was this, you know, grammar from a book, and it was one of the best universities in Thailand. Which, this is amazing. I got the job online. Like, we had an interview like this, and then they gave me the job, and I landed in Thailand, first time ever, and they gave me the keys for an apartment, and then I went to work the next day, which I was a bit in shock. But it was an incredible experience. And the university, I was teaching English to all the students that were doing digital media. So they had lots of subjects like, you know, art, like illustration or animation. So I was always with the students because they were almost my age, by the way. So we were friends, and then I would go to some classes, lessons, and just learn. And I started to draw a lot during while living there in Thailand, and that was really cool because it made me feel like, it made me remember like, this is really cool, like this is what I like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back to, I went to Japan for a bit, then I came to England. I also lived in Switzerland and worked in farms, by the way, milking cows and stuff.
Oh, really?
That's before Thailand. Yeah.
Wait,
listen,
so
I get bored.
I am just curious. Was that like the first job, or what was the very first thing you were doing for money?
My very ever first job was at McDonald's.
Oh, nice.
I was in McDonald's selling burgers, and I was so proud. They told me that I was super good at cleaning. Like, we won an award for the cleanest McDonald's in the area. That was my OCD showing, of course. But I get bored super easily.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been in the same job for longer than 2 years.
So how did you get to a farm? I'm just curious. Like that.
So when I was learning, when I was studying translation and interpretation of German, I went to Switzerland to learn German. And then I saw these farms, and I was like, this is so cool. I want to make some money. So I had a neighbor farmer. So I went and talked to him, and I was like, hey, do you need some help? And they were like, yeah, like, why not? Like, you could paint not the farm, but where the pigs are, the outside of the house.
Oh, okay.
The outside of the pig house. So the barn.
Okay, yeah.
So I painted the barn, and then I would have lunch with the family, which was very cute. And after that, I was like, I want a job, like, not just painting, I want to be a farmer. So I rented a big quad, and then I went from farm to farm, asking to all the farmers if they needed help. So one of the farmers gave me work with chickens. Another one, I was driving a massive tractor. That was so much fun. The first time that I went on the tractor, like, I did a wheelie because, it accelerates. It has so much power. And I treated it like a car. And I was like, and the farmer was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I had all these different jobs, and then pigs, and then cows. And I liked it so much that every summer I went to the Swiss Alps, and I would work in a farm, and it was a town, only 80 people. And I would be working there all summer because I loved it.
Nice. Yeah. So then you went from working on the farm into jumping to Thailand and teaching. Was that the direct path, or?
No. So I went from the farm, I went back to Spain, and then I finished my degree. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Thailand. And then I lived there for a while, and then I spent some time in Japan, just enjoying and spending all my money. And then all my money that it wasn't much, because, by the way, the salaries in Thailand are so small. Mm-hmm. Even though like my salary was really good, and I think it was something like $1,200 a month. Mm-hmm. But with that, I had like a massive apartment with a swimming pool. I got a motorbike. Nice. So the life there was great. But if I ever wanted to come back home, I would spend all my salary on a flight, Yeah. But yeah, and then after that, I came to England, and I was for a while in the north of England, and then I came to London, and I did all kinds of jobs. I worked night shifts in a toy store, which it was so much fun, I have to admit. Then I worked as a waitress in so many places, washing dishes. Because, when you come to London as a foreign person or whatever, mm-hmm. you don't get really well-paid good jobs unless you have a lot of experience. So I had to do all those different jobs because I needed money to pay my rent. And then I slowly transitioned into media stuff. And it was thanks to having that YouTube channel that someone found me online, and they offered me a job for a YouTube network. And then I started working there, and I used that experience to slowly, get into different positions until I was in my latest job, where I was a freelance, but I was doing okay, as in money wise. I was making like $300 a day, but I would only work 3 days a week because I hate to work 9 to 5. I think it's disgraceful. Why? Whose idea was this? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we working 5 days and having 2 off? No, hate it. So every time in all the jobs that I had, they were either temporary, so I knew it has a limit. I'm going to work on this 3 months and then it's done. Or I would ask for my own needs. And they would always include, I am not working 5 days. I am not traveling in rush hour. Nice. Which I know some people might be fuck off, but I just say, this is what I need. Are you okay with it? And they would say yes. So I was like, fine.
Yeah, that's a really valuable thing to be doing, because you're giving so much of your time for money, of course. But I think a lot of people go in and they don't really realize that you have a lot more agency when it comes to things like this, and you can make requests. It's not like demands. You're just like, oh, can we do this? And a lot of times people, especially if they want you on the team, they'll say yes.
Yeah. That's the thing, that I work so hard and I want to make people proud of what I do for them. Especially if they pay me money, I feel like, oh shit, I have to make sure that they are super satisfied. So I think it just makes sense to be like that, both sides. I'm gonna do anything to make sure my work for you is amazing, but I need you to compensate me with these things, But yeah, you are so right. People are scared of asking because it's kind of like we end up believing that things are the way they are and that's it. And that's not real,
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Like, I talk about this with my girlfriend a lot. It's so weird to think how everything is made up. Like, just like every aspect of life, down to the pavement on the roads, like that we need to have roads, say. Like, someone decided that along the history, and this is what we do. And we're like, no, this is the box that we live within. But it is wild. Everything is just, I don't want to say arbitrary, because there's decisions and reasons, but almost everything is flexible to a degree.
Yeah. Totally. And if you think about it, like, you can apply this to absolutely everything. And I always like to think about how media in general is super influenced by these ideas that someone thought that was how it is. Like, 300 years ago, usually it's a cisgender, straight, white male. Forgive me, but that's the truth. Yeah. And then they decided all this bullshit, and now we are all doing it. So that is not how it has to be. There are so many different options. There are so many different ways of doing things. I always think, like, because we are born in our country or whatever, and then all the information that we absorb is from our environment. And then, we have access to the internet and we're like, oh, all these things are out there. That's cool. But I think what really opened my box was traveling and seeing so many people having absolutely opposite lives to mine, and so many different alternatives. Like, you can do whatever you want, really. I'm talking also from a place of privilege, because I understand some people cannot, just leave everything. Like, I have no children, I have no obligations or anything, so I can stand up and be like, I'm gonna go and risk it, So that's clear. I know I have a lot of privilege, but I'm just saying that it does not have to be that way. Absolutely. Yeah, it can be anyway.
Yeah, that is, like, travel is so important, because, like you said, like, if you're staying in your hometown, sort of, you grew up there, you went to school with the same people, you're progressing through life. It's a very small bubble. Like, it's easy to forget that the world is vast. And so many different lifestyles, and whether it's like business and careers or just what the day-to-day life looks like. That's something that I think is just immensely valuable. And it's exciting that you had the opportunity to bounce around and really get a feel for all these different areas. And I feel like that then informs who you are. Like, of course it does. But then what you're creating and everything you're doing, from the content creation through YouTube and everything, but now, like, through NFTs. And yeah, It's all super valuable.
Yeah.
So getting into NFTs then. Now, what was that bridge? So were you at the media company at the moment, like sort of when you started to discover NFTs, and maybe how did you come across them?
So this was in March. I was on Instagram, and then I saw these Instagram stories about NFTs are the worst. And I was like, oh shit, what is this? And then I Googled it and I was like, oh, this is bad. So that happened. And then I was just having my life. I was extremely depressed, by the way, like really badly, like fucked, like it was like, I had a lot of like suicidal thoughts. I was not going to act on them, but they were constantly in my mind and thinking I'm going to die and everything is horrible because of the coronavirus situation as well. It really made my mental health really, really bad. So I decided to start medication, because prior to that I would go to therapy, but it was okay, but not enough. And then I decided to make that step, and it was the best decision I've ever made after NFTs. And basically I take sertraline, so 50 milligrams every morning is one pill. I'm just saying this because there's a lot of stigma and taboo around mental health and medication. And that's why it took me that long to try it, because I thought, I've heard all these comments like it makes you worse. And I was like, if it makes you worse, why would you take it? Yeah. For me personally, it has worked incredibly well. The only thing that it does is regulates the levels of serotonin that are spread, produced in your brain. And then suddenly you feel much more stable. So all those, I have a lot of different moods,
Mm-hmm.
So it just made me feel very, very stable. And I have no anxiety. Before, I was anxious. Like I had this agony, this feeling of impending doom constantly. Like, and now I'm just chilling. I get stressed sometimes because I have a lot to do, but that's a good kind of stress, So yeah, I was completely depressed, and then I started medication, and also I got enough money to pay for my surgery, because I'm to be honest, I don't know, I say I'm non-binary because that's the definition that goes best with me. Mm-hmm. But I am AFAB, which means assigned female at birth. Mm-hmm. And I just had really big boobs, I had big bazookas. And I was like sick of them. Like I had a lot of like gender dysphoria around my chest. So I decided to have surgery. Do you want to see my nipples? Or is it not allowed?
I mean, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so I got to surgery, and you can see, everyone can see my nipples now online. So it's, again, one of the best decisions I've ever made. So this massive thing happened in my life where I started medication, I removed my big bazookas, and I started working on NFTs. And those three things combined have been incredibly life-changing. So I feel much more confident with my body not having big boobs. I also feel much more stable because of the medication. And I have a job that I absolutely love. So I was working for the company. They make figurines, collectible figurines for Marvel, DC, and all these different brands. Mm-hmm. So I was just doing graphic design for the website. It was so boring, and it sounds better than it was, honestly. So I started doing NFTs as I was working for them, because I told them I can only work 3 days a week. Thank you very much. So the rest of the days I was full on NFTs, like 24/7. I was so hyped. I would wake up at 6 a.m. and I was like, I can't sleep. And I would come, to the computer and start doing NFT stuff. And then I started FatBaby, and I was doing just one pieces, and I was selling them at the beginning for 0.05. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they started to sell, and then I made lots of friends, and it was so much fun, and we were having a great time. And I started to make money, and I was like, whoa. Because I had no clue about crypto, nothing. I remember opening the MetaMask wallet and thinking that I was going to be hacked. And yeah, they were gonna steal all my money from my bank, even though it was not connected. You know? That's how ignorant I was.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big leap for sure.
Listen, I was like, I'm shitting myself. What is happening? So I put 80 pounds in the MetaMask wallet so that I could mint art on OpenSea. And that's it. That's all the money I invested. Because when you are a creator, you make money. If you are an investor or a collector, you need to obviously put more fiat in and play with the, flipping and stuff. But
like up until now, that the 80 pounds, that's everything?
Can you believe?
That's amazing. Like that is just so amazing. And you put in the work. This isn't like a magic box. You put in the money and it just...
Oh no, I'm working 24/7.
Yeah.
But still, I want to be super honest because I know some people don't talk about this, but I want to say it because it's real and you can go and check it in the, blockchain and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But if I calculate an estimate of how much profit I have made after putting those 80 pounds or dollar, I've made like 1 million.
Yeah. And I imagine up until today, you've never made nearly that much in anything else you've done, I would assume.
Listen, my whole ancestry together has never made that much money in my whole history of DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't have the $1 million, the $1 million because first of all, I shared 50% with my developers. I know nobody does that, but I was so excited. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. So 50%. And then
and that was the developers for Clever Girls?
Yes, this was, by the way, this was all for Clever Girls. And then my FatBaby stuff that also would sell. And also that crazy collaboration that I did for the Bogu, it sold for 26 ETH.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Who am I? I was like, wow. So, yeah, I mean, all this happened. And basically, I obviously left my job. As soon as we sold out Clever Girls, I was like, that's it. I worked for them 1 more month, because, I was not going to just suddenly leave. But then I was like, okay, I need a plan. Because I was not doing Clever Girls to make money and go. No, I was doing Clever Girls to stay here forever. So I reinvested everything. I opened a company because otherwise tax kills you. So basically, so that you have an idea, I hired a tax person, an accountant, and from $500,000, if you are a freelance, from that $500,000, you pay $250,000 tax.
Yeah, it's wild.
But if you are a company, you pay $90,000.
And is that because of expenses and everything, or
no? It's because of listen, I am so ignorant. I don't understand.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's fine.
I hired. But this is what she told me, and this is what it stayed in my mind because I was like, fuck. It's because of being a company. So when you are a company, you pay less tax, I guess. I don't know. But this is in England, by the way. Yeah. I don't know in other countries, but that's how it works here. So yeah, I opened a company and I am declaring absolutely everything. Because I know in some countries you don't have to, or some people are not doing it. But I want to do everything so legit and perfect so I can stay here forever and not go to prison.
Yeah.
So everything, all the revenue we make, even if we make $1 million, that's all on my name. And then I have to declare that much. And then I have to pay the tax for everything, So yeah, you make a lot of money, but then suddenly everything is very complicated.
And real quick on the taxes, I know it's not like you have someone for this. Are they advising you to convert it immediately into fiat currency, or are they someone who's sort of versed in how to sort of manage it from a tax perspective?
No, so basically it's super complicated because they have kind of very, very clear rules for crypto, but not for NFTs.
Okay.
So, for example, they do tell me to cash out enough to pay tax, right? Because if now ETH goes to 0, I still have to pay tax.
Yeah.
Come on. So, I keep cashing out when it's high, as high as possible, and then I keep that for tax. And whenever I have to do my tax return, for sure I have that amount of, whatever. But it's pretty complicated. And at the moment we are doing it in a way where, because everything is registered in Etherscan and MetaMask and everything, I can go and check how much I made. And also one super important thing, gas counts as an expense.
Yeah, that's really important to note because gas has been ridiculous as of late.
It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
But she was asking me things like, for example, how many products have you sold? And I'm like, or in which countries?
Oh, yeah.
So these are things that they are still, exploring and seeing how can they do it in the best way, because there's no specific laws or anything for this. That's why it's even more dangerous, because I want to make sure that in 10 years, they don't come to me and be like, hey, you owe us whatever,
Yeah, because that could ruin someone, like especially many years down the line when all that money's been spent and you have no idea what to. It's just a wild west. It's right now everything is so up in the air. And in terms of then the actual accounting, like you mentioned, you can go to Etherscan and you can sort of see the transactions. How are you managing that right now? Because there are, Clever Girls is what, 5,000 NFTs, I think?
Yeah, 5,555. Yeah. And Raptor City is going to be 10,000. So there's a platform that does your taxes from your NFTs.
Oh, okay.
I need to check the name because that would be useful. Let me see.
Yeah, that'll be hugely useful.
I will find it at some point and tell you, because this is very important basically for people that want to do things legit.
Oh yeah.
But there's a platform that is exclusively for taxes and NFTs.
Okay.
So basically you have to do, there's a big form. I hate taxes, but you have to fill up all this stuff, and then it tells you how much you have spent on gas, how much you have made, how all the value of the coin changing as well.
Nice.
All this sort of stuff. So there are platforms already that can do that for you. But yes, still it's so confusing, and I get super overwhelmed every time I think about it. Now I'm sweating.
Yeah, just as a collector, I've tried to log everything like in a spreadsheet, but that is a nightmare because there is so many. Like every little bit is because the price of Ethereum changes and the gas fees for this. Like when you bought it, it was this, but now it's that. Yeah, it's just that. Yeah, having a service is going to be hugely valuable just all around. And it's sort of scary for me to see a lot of creators I know aren't, they're sort of flying by the seat of their pants still because this is such a new area. And some people they could really get hurt financially, like once tax season comes around.
Yes, I don't recommend to anybody to ignore this because it can be extremely dangerous, and we don't know because there are no laws yet. But the disgraceful thing with HMRC here is that they can go back, I think it's 6 years in time, and ask you for whatever you haven't paid. So that means that if now there are no laws for NFTs, but in 5 years there are, I'm going to own them. I cannot go and say, but you didn't tell me before. No.
Yeah.
So it's really, really dangerous. Like you have to make sure that you are spending your money responsibly and that you are making sure that you are paying that tax. That's not your money. Mm-hmm. It's the government's money. So when you are making that amount, think that 20% or whatever percent is not yours.
Yeah, that's hugely important for any business. Because every business has to pay their tax, but then like when it comes to crypto, things feel different. Yes. But it really isn't. You are an entrepreneur. You're running a business. The business is actually called FatBaby Club, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I like that though. Oh, and I meant to ask. So FatBaby, the name, did that come from your first pieces that were the FatBaby, or is there some sort of other origin? So
I don't know if you can see here at the back.
Oh yeah, there they are.
My girlfriend is running to get me the FatBabies. So I wanted to sell art, because I wanted to live off my art. Uh-huh. But no one would buy this because they were. This is who bought them. We had two people. This is cardboard, from Amazon boxes. So I would draw here and paint, and everything.
Uh-huh.
And basically, I wanted to sell them for $50 each,
Mm-hmm.
but only one friend of mine bought one, which it was like a monkey that I made for her. And then a lovely guy who is now collecting my NFTs from England got one as well. And that's it. Disgrace.
Yeah.
So my first NFT, these are actually my two first NFTs because I drew this digitally.
Mm-hmm.
And I minted them. And then someone paid $80 for it. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So that's how I started. And that's why I call the collection FatBaby, because basically what I was doing is like popular characters, like pop culture characters. I am a geek, clearly. But I would redraw them with my FatBaby style. And that's why I got the name. And I think it's a cute name.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, because you've had a few different names. I found, let me see, because you were doing Mischievous Frog, and like Your Know Me might have been another project I think that you had, and like I went through. So I was curious, like if FatBaby had a previous origin, but I love that everything happened all at the same time, like you said, like so many changes, so many things, but that was that leap, that big step into this new you in many ways, like.
Totally. Yeah. But also it's super important to remember, because, this is something my girlfriend tells me sometimes when I'm a bit frustrated, that when you are looking at a super big artist, like let's say a super explicit example within the NFT space, Beeple.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, this guy suddenly made 60 million or whatever. No, this guy has been constantly years and years of his life working on something, and this is one thing that happened along the way, but how many years, how many hours, how much effort has he put into making this happen? So like with me, obviously I don't have that much success yet, but I've been working so hard.
Oh yeah.
My whole entire life, and focused on art and trying to do different things, like trying all these, like, does this work, does this, and then it gets to a point where it's like, oh, this works. And in my case it was NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, because even like you and your girlfriend developed an app too, right? A game.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that was cute. So she got a scholarship.
She down here in the basement.
Yeah, she down here for women in tech. So it was from Sky TV. I don't know if you know Sky TV. They were giving 25,000 or 25,000 pounds to different women that had some sort of idea to do something technological. So we were in a game jam here in London, the London Game Jam, and it was me and her. So we made a game together about a little frog who was depressed. I was the frog. And the game was about having a conversation with the frog and learning how to use language with someone who is depressed. Because, as I was saying before, there's a lot of stigma around mental health, and people don't really know what depression is. I didn't know myself, So sometimes if someone is depressed, you don't know what to say. And there are lots of comments that can be very hurtful, even though you are trying your best. You can be like, oh, don't worry, it will go away. Or just go for a walk, you will feel better. All these things that's not how it works,
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a little game where you talk to the frog. The frog was in a hole in the ground, and then you had to talk to it and help it come out. And the hole was the depression,
Uh-huh.
And we won that game jam, which was incredible because they were really good games. But I think people were in love with the frog, and I think they were all depressed, and they were like, "Fuck, that's me." We were all fucked, and yeah. So we won the game jam, and then she presented the idea to work on something bigger than that. So it was an interactive narrative. We wrote with my actual writer, that he's my friend, and after working with him for a hero's guide to gardening, that's the game. You can play for free on what is the name of that? Itch. Yes.
Okay,
you know
yeah.
Itch?
I saw it when I was looking it up. Yeah, you can play it through the browser,
yeah.
or there's the iOS app, right?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, you can play for free. So yeah, the game is about emotional literacy, because we are not mental health experts, so we could not, talk about mental health explicitly, but we can talk about emotional literacy and how to be around people that might be experiencing depression or anger issues or anxiety. So there's like 3 characters and you talk to them. So yeah, that was a beautiful experience. But again, we got the scholarship, we spent all the money on the project because we had to hire a developer. We also hired the writer, and I got an iPad to be able to draw everything. So yeah, we spent all the money, and then the game was for free because we wanted everyone to access it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I love that everything with mental health, because you also have another project, I think, Cool Kids Club, that sort of along the same lines is, I love that you're taking like your experience, and now as you're developing things and building your success, you're able to sort of help other people in a way that maybe you would have hoped you would have had along the line.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm like, why no one told me this? It's like, what? Like, I've learned so much going to therapy, and online, like with my gender identity. Why didn't nobody told me that there was a possibility that I'm not male or female? All these sort of things. That's what I want to. That's why I'm super explicit about everything, and I show you my nipples, because I want this to be normal. Like, it's okay. Yeah, and when no one ever tells you anything about it, you feel like you are broken, or you are weird, or you are doing something wrong because you've never heard about this, so you might be fucked, So it's super important to talk about all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to make such a shift from, that's a very serious topic, but I did want to dive into how you have moved from Clever Girls into Raptor City, because you've from what I gather, you've learned a lot from Clever Girls and brought in a team and realized what can we realize from the profits we made here and build something bigger. So I was hoping you'd maybe talk about that, like bringing in employees and whatnot.
Totally. So
all right, so I'm just going to jump in right here and let you know what the secret code is to claim this episode's POAP. The secret code is FatBaby now. It's all one word, all lowercase, FatBabyNow. Back to the show.
Clever Girls was just a random idea because I love dinosaurs. And I was like, oh my God, wouldn't it be cool to have a collection called Clever Girls and they are all velociraptors? That was a thought. And then I wanted to try out a generative project. And I met Cincos and Van, who are a lovely couple. Sorry. And I told them, would you like to do a generative project with me? Would you like to help me? And they were like, yes. And I was like, pay you 50%, it's going to be great. And they were lovely because obviously I didn't have money to pay them. The thing was, we sell out and you get this much, right? Thankfully it happened. But I made a lot of mistakes because regarding the metadata and traits, I'm learning every day so much. This is all so new. So in my opinion, I think I created too many traits. And when there are that many traits, it's more complicated to identify the collection. I know Clever Girls is Clever Girls and you see it and it's a Clever Girl, but people love, we are social beings, right? And we love to have a group of people that have a same identity, and we have all this community feeling. So you can see this in our collections, like they are like, oh, hoodie gang or gold skin gang or whatever, people love to do that. So with Clever Girls, there's so many traits and they are so different from each other that it to a point, it makes no sense. It has it's not cohesive. And I like the project, of course, and I think it's so much fun. But in that regard, and also regarding the metadata and how I drew the assets as well, it was my first time, so I made a lot of mistakes where I had to exclude so many assets from others, because they were overlapping, and then it was not working. So there's some also within the metadata in OpenSea, there are a couple of mistakes. So it's not a perfect collection. And I was like, okay, I need to do this in a way that is forever, that it's perfectly designed, right? So that's why I thought, okay, I need to invest this money into the next project, and all Clever Girls holders will get this for free, because they made this happen. So Raptor City is basically the creation that all these people invested in, and they are going to, Clever Girls is a VIP pass to everything that I am creating now. And I know some people are a bit confused, because some people are like, someone said rook pool, that I rooked pool, and I was like, what? Who are you? Like, where have you been? I do understand some people are very worried, because there has been a lot of, people taking advantage, fake accounts, etc. But what I need all collectors from Clever Girls to understand is that they have invested in the right thing. And I am working so hard, and Clever Girls was a step into what's coming next. And I made some mistakes, and I didn't mean to make them. I was just learning. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I thought I did a very deep analysis of the audience, like, who are the collectors, the majority of the collectors. How much can they afford? Are they, because people think of NFTs and then, the whales, people with a lot of crypto. Right now, we have to be smart. I'm going to give you golden nuggets for the future. But, there's so many people coming in new to the NFT space. And most of these people, they don't have crypto. They are like me, I had 80 pounds. What do you do with 80 pounds? Nothing. That's like 0.0 what,
Yeah.
So that's another thing super important to understand. How are you pricing your NFT? Are you doing airdrops? How are you treating the community? Who are your collectors? How many Clever Girls did each collector get? Maybe there's people out there that got one because that's all they can afford. And they are expecting something to happen because they are excited. So I want to make sure that all of those people, including the ones that have just one Clever Girl, are going to be able to enjoy whatever we create. So we have done a lot of things already, like I love wearables for the metaverse. So I have airdropped wearables, 2 different ones. We are taking a screenshot,
or a snapshot.
Yes, thank you. A snapshot of all the wallets today, because I have a new set of wearables that look so cool. They are dinosaurs, they have like a big tail and a baby raptor on the shoulder, and 2 katanas. So they look really cool. And I also love that I get to work with 3D artists, and I pay them, we work together, and then I have a present for all the collectors. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing, the whole transition is basically that, creating something that has a lot of value. And this time is perfectly done.
Yeah. And I did want to touch on the attributes. What is the sweet spot that you found? Because you're doing a 10K project. Is there sort of a number of attributes you feel works, or was it really just sort of touch and go and figure it out?
So it really depends, because if what you have to do, basically, first of all, is like what we were talking about at the beginning, like it doesn't have to be a specific way. Mm-hmm. It can be any way you choose, especially like, that's why I love the NFT space so much, because I get bored easily, but with the NFTs, you can do anything you like. Anything, like we are doing, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, we're doing crazy jackets now. I also want to do a custom motorbikes. I'm not even joking.
Oh wow, that would be wild.
Yes, I am 100% doing this, and helmets, but within the budget. But I want to do these like things that people are like, oh shit, you can do that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, regarding the traits, I think the most important thing within a collection is to have very cohesive traits. So all of the randomly generated NFTs have to make sense. So with Clever Girls, for example, one of the traits is a tanuki on the head, a raccoon. Japanese tanuki. That makes no sense. And then another, I mean, I love it, but that's one trait. And then the other trait is a leather jacket. So, you look at it and I like it, but analyzing what people truly want, audience-wise, generalizing. People like things that they can recognize. So, for example, collections like Cool Cats, Dead Fellas, Cryptodes, they are collections that look very iconic. And when I say iconic, I mean their NFTs look like a logo. Each of those NFTs could be perfectly a logo. It's very, very strongly branded. It has a very specific color palette. You see it from even if the picture is super small, you straight away know it's a Cool Cat just from the colors. It's like when I show you the colors of McDonald's, just the colors, your brain is telling me McDonald's, right? So these are the collections that have exploded. I'm not mentioning Bored Apes because I think the main reason why Bored Apes was very successful is because of how whales can manipulate the market. This is a reality. And also because it was one of the first generative projects after punks that came out. So I'm not saying shit, but all I'm saying is that I attribute most of the success to those very circumstantial things.
Yeah, there's the timing and the community that they built. So there's like multiple pieces, but it's just different than what's working right now.
Exactly, totally. And if you look at like I said, like Dead Fellas, Cool Cats, Fan Gang, all these collections that are very chunky characters, with a very specific color palette. It works super well. So what I would say is the key for a successful generative project at the moment, and profile picture related, because you can make a generative project and this is spaceships, whatever. No, I'm talking about profile pictures, is have a color palette, very specific color palette. Have your character have a shape, when you do character design, the silhouette of your character is very important. So if I showed you a picture now of Mickey Mouse that's like a black picture, you would straight away tell me Mickey Mouse, because you can see the ears, you can see the tail, So with these collections, if I show you just a black Cool Cat, it's the Cool Cat, it has the ears. So I would recommend very cohesive traits that make sense. If it's clothing, it's clothing, but don't do things that are too different. And then the color palette and just having very consistent art. And regarding traits, I wouldn't do more than 50 for each, because then they start to be too different from each other and it can be a bit confusing. Also, when you open the tab to look at the traits and there are 200, you're like, fuck that, So it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Traits wise. So those are things that I've learned and I have applied on Raptor City. But of course you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying what works.
No, but
I think works.
Yeah, this is like a masterclass though. I mean, all of these details because truly, you've been in it, you've built, and now you're building again because you've learned so much. Like that is immensely valuable. I just thank you for sharing all of that because I think that is awesome. It's going to help a lot of people who want to build something that's we all want to build something successful, but just even looking at it as a logo, I hadn't thought about it that way, but you don't see intricate logos. That's not, because we do design, that's our main business is brand development and whatnot. And we would never develop a really intricate logo because you need to be able to have it scale down, have it be the fave icon in a browser and know what it is. And there's all these different things that I hadn't actually thought about, but that makes so much sense in this space.
Yeah, but that's why I said that this is profile picture related, because
exactly,
most of the people use their phones. They are on Twitter. So what you have to do to know if you like your profile, if you like your project, is take the illustration, put it as your profile picture, and look at it. Is it good? Can you see it from a distance? Is it recognizable? It's just testing whatever you are creating in the platform or the device, the hardware that it's going to be used in. Because this is another mistake with Clever Girls, so detailed. You can make the illustration massive. I made so many details, I would spend hours doing stuff, and for what? Nobody's gonna see it. Because they are used as profile pictures. Nobody's having this on a gigantic screen in their house, At the beginning, there was all this thing, I'm going to display my NFT on a screen. No.
Yeah.
Some people like have it on their Apple Watch. That's another thing. How big is it? Can you see it on the Apple Watch? Is it a landscape? If you are into generative projects and profile picture projects, you want to create something that you can look at being super small. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's the key. But also, let's not forget, this is very important, you can have 10,000 NFTs that look perfect, but if you don't do marketing, forget about it. Yeah. It's very sad, but it's 90% marketing, 10% art. And this is a fact. You can go and look at some collections. I am sorry, they look disgraceful. I respect everybody, okay? But some collections, the quality is the art quality is very, very, very low. But the community and the hype and the marketing and the FOMO is insane. So people get into it.
Oh, yeah.
Also, another thing to remember, because let's be real here, the market is manipulated by whales. And this is true. Of course, there are collections that do super well, like Clever Girls, to be honest, is a massive success because it was organic, 100% organic. It was just me and, Van, who was helping me with the Discord, because I did not even know how to open a Discord. And that's it. It was me making friends and saying like, yeah, cool, haha, having fun. Uh-huh. So, of course, it has the community factor and being a nice person as well. This is super important. Being nice to others. Be honest. Be grateful and be loving and giving, because then people see that and they want to give you that back. And that's amazing, right? But yeah, there's that side. And then there's the other side where is that, sorry, my Tamagotchi had a poop. I need to clean it or it gets sick. Okay. So there's that, being great and lovely and all of that. But also, realistically, if you don't do marketing at all, no one is going to know that you are there. And this is one of the reasons, like you told me, oh, thank you for coming because I know you are very busy. Yes, but this is so important. Me talking to you, like we don't know each other, but I want to be nice to you. You want to be nice to me, and we will see what happens, and getting eyes, like, I don't know how many people are going to watch this, 500 people, I don't know. If I get 3 collectors, that was worth it, Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of, you can create something incredible, but if no one is looking at it, it doesn't exist. Getting philosophical, but it is true. So you can make sure that you have analyzed the market and you have analyzed all these different artists and collections, and you have created the ultimate collection. But then what are you doing with that? So marketing, 24/7 Twitter, go to all the spaces that you can. It can be super draining, but I think you must sacrifice some of your time at the beginning and be very focused. And then it may happen. I also want to be very clear here. I do not believe in meritocracy at all. Mm-hmm. I don't believe like all this like work hard, you will get it bullshit. Okay, there's clearly capitalism is not about meritocracy. Because then all these people in the supermarkets and shit, working hours and breaking their backs, why are they not millionaires? So that is bullshit. And I have been lucky and I have worked super hard. And I am privileged because I got an iPad. I have a computer. My parents are working class. They didn't go to university, but they sacrificed a lot so that I go to university. And then I have all this, I'm tech savvy or whatever. So there are so many things that made this happen. So I don't want people to believe that, oh, FatBaby worked so hard. Yeah, of course I worked so hard, but I also, there's a lot of like circumstantial lack factors and privilege,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because there is that right place at the right time. Like if you were starting maybe next year, same month, same day, it's a different landscape. I mean, would you be exactly where you are right now? Maybe, but probably not, just because things are different. But again, I never want to diminish the work you put in, because you have put in an immense amount of work to get exactly where you are. But yeah, there are so many factors at play. And you mentioned the marketing and everything and sort of being in spaces and things. Someone who's sort of day one, say, they're a creator, they're an artist, they've created elsewhere, but they've never done NFTs and never sold digital art. Do you have maybe like 3 things that you would recommend they sort of where they start?
Yes. So you need to look at this as like, imagine it's like a video game, right? So you have level 1. Level 1 is reading the instructions. So you open a Twitter account, because Twitter is like, the NFT mecca, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I can say that, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
So you open a Twitter account clean. It's not the Twitter account that you have had for years. No, it's a new one. And it's only for NFTs. And you go out there and you follow all the influencers, all the NFT artists that you like. And every time you go on Twitter, if you go on Twitter a lot, great. If not, you need dedication. So 1 hour a day, you go on Twitter and you scroll and you read everything. You check what people are talking about. You learn all the slang or whatever, all the words that people use in the crypto space. And you spend 1 month doing that. Full on. That's level 1. Suddenly, after 1 month, you are like, oh yeah, I know this. I know this artist, I know this expression. I've met these people, and, maybe you have some friends that you have been talking to, because you have to observe and also interact. Once that has happened, you can start creating something. But you cannot expect out of nowhere to go and watch a tutorial, how to upload on OpenSea, upload 3 things, and they sell out. That's not going to happen. It's like, think about if you have a website where you sell your product and someone goes on Google, and imagine you sell t-shirts and someone goes on Google and puts t-shirts. No one is going to find your shop. What do? You use Twitter, you use Instagram, you use Facebook, you use YouTube to promote your product. So this is the same. You must be on Twitter at least. And then if you want to be on other platforms, good for you. I don't have the energy, but Twitter is the key. And yeah, after that, another thing I would recommend is, like, you don't have to do this alone. There's lots of people out there that would love to work together with someone else and create something. And that's what I have been doing. Like, most of the people that work for me, I don't know them. I met them on Twitter through NFTs. So yeah, I think that's super important. And then also, of course, being patient and loving. I think that's super important, and not being like, each person is different, right? But the most important thing is, like, be cute and be chilled, and slowly things will happen. Mm-hmm. Don't be impatient, because I know FOMO is so toxic.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It takes a little while.
Yeah, it all takes time. That's so valuable and so important for people to realize, is nothing's instant. Like, this is a business like any other business. Just so happens that time feels condensed in the NFT world. I saw you tweeted that it felt like 84 years since Clever Girls, and it was like, that was only August, I think, or September?
September.
Yeah, and so September, and we're recording at the beginning of December or middle of December.
Oh my God.
But it feels like an eternity since that came out. It's wild how things are happening, but patience is so important. And I don't want to take too much more of your time. This is amazing. Like, I feel like if you ever...
I'm so sorry. Listen, I talk so much, and you are so patient, and you are so good at making questions, so I don't go crazy. And
this is perfect. This is it. This has been an amazing episode. I only wanted to ask one more thing. When it came to hiring, because hiring is, like you mentioned, you found people through NFT Twitter and everything, but now you have, I believe, 8 employees or 8 people total.
We are 10 in total.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So how did you go about sort of making that leap? Because I don't think you've had to hire for anything previously.
No. So this is a little bit scary. I understand, because, you don't want to be putting all this effort and your soul into something, and then someone that doesn't care comes to you and and fucks things up or whatever. I have been very lucky, I must admit, but the way I have done it is the developers, I know they worked in successful projects before, and they were developers for people that I had nice, healthy, and cute interactions on Twitter. That was the developers. Then I spoke to them. I've never seen their faces or anything. It's just voice. I trusted them, and they trusted me. So that is being lucky, because I was like, I don't understand anything. You just take 50%, and the other 50% for me. They could have put 100% for themselves, and then I'm like, fucked. But it was a matter of like trusting each other. And then when it comes to like social media managers, I have a writer, but the writer is my friend from real life.
Uh-huh.
But the social media managers, community manager, I have a marketing consultant who is amazing. And all these people I met on the NFT Twitter. And they just wrote to me and said, hey, I love your project. They were collectors, and I recognized their names. So they started as mods on Discord. And then I saw how committed they were. By the way, you need to pay everybody. If you have mods and you have a sold out collection, you need to pay them. You must pay everyone.
It's so important. Actually, real quick, how did you determine sort of that, like how much to pay? You don't have to say exactly how much you're paying, but that is, I feel like it's such a gray area right now.
I can't tell you how much. This is the thing. I like being explicit about everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying our best and we're going to die anyway. So I'm paying at the moment, I'm paying 1 ETH a month, because what we did is we asked and calculated the salaries of their previous jobs or whatever, and we said, what do you think is fair? Because I would never tell them, I'm paying you this if you think it's fair or not. No, I asked. And we decided that if it's full-time, it's 1 ETH. If it's part-time, it's 0.5. And we pay with ETH. And then another thing that I'm doing, for example, is if we sell out on the 10th of December, I'm giving 5 ETH to each person of the team.
Nice.
For their efforts, and why not?
Yeah.
Distribute the wealth. Like, we don't need that much money per person.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Like everything about this project and you, it's just, I love what you're doing, and I love like talking to you. I love it even more. So like, it's just, you're really doing like a wonderful job, and I feel like I have a million other questions I could ask you, but I don't want to take too much of your time because you are so busy, and we've already gone over our hour. But
I'm so sorry, I talk so much.
No, this was amazing. Like I'm so grateful for you taking the time, and because this is going to be an immensely valuable episode for everyone. Where should we send people then to check out the new project? So
I would say the raptorcity.io, which is the website. It will have all the information for all the things that we are making. We are also making an animated series. Listen, I told too much. I didn't say the important things. We are working on an animated series. We are doing the Black Market, which is a monthly event. And it's not just going to be physical clothing. It's going to be everything. We are right now, I've worked with a musician. Her name is Madame the Band, and she plays all the instruments. And she made a theme song for Clever Girls. And then I have an animator making a video clip for the song. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be an LP, EP.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, I'm not sure which one, but yeah.
for the Black Market, it's going to be a limited amount. So I paid those people already, but if we sell a lot of that product, I pay them again. It's just having fun doing all these different things. And we are going to have everything on the website, but there's like numerous things that we are working on, because as I said before, I get bored very easily. So I love to innovate constantly and bring things that are fun to the community. Yeah, it really shows. I mean, because you were doing so much, so many, even little things, such like the homepage, being able to do the graffiti on there. It's those little things. It's so cool, and it like brings people in. And your your Twitch streams having is it Plushie and Answer as hosts while you're illustrating a new Clever Girl. All of this, it's brilliant. Like I truly love what you're doing, and like, I really think a lot of people will learn a ton from this episode, but also just from watching what you're doing, because you are taking
you're taking the right path on everything and paying your employees and doing the things that a lot of people are, it's all up in the air. So you don't know really what people are doing. And I appreciate you being open.
Totally. And I don't mind. I don't mind talking about money and talking about all these things. This is all new, and we are just testing and trying new things. But all I know is I don't need that much money. All I need is I need to pay my dad's debt. That's something for sure. I want to give my parents enough money so that they can both retire. And then after that, I need some coin for myself, of course. I would like a house. Mm-hmm. But we don't need millions in our bank accounts, because me having millions, it's me having millions. But me distributing the wealth means so many lives changed, and that's how amazing is that? Yeah, everyone doing it.
Amazing. I love all of this. Thank you again for taking the time. I want to thank FatBaby for joining me on this episode. That was a wonderful conversation, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But to check out Raptor City Rascals, head over to raptorcity.io, where you'll find everything. And when this is out, if it's still available for mint, or you can get to OpenSea and the Discord and everything. But I highly, highly recommend that you check it out, and especially with everything that FatBaby shared. I'm so excited for the future and where this project is going, let alone the excitement I already had for what I've seen so far. But again, that's raptorcity.io. As always, this episode of Starting Now is brought to you by Built. At Built, we help you get started online. Whether you want to start a blog or a business, head on over to built.co. That's BYLT.co to get started. Built, your website, built for you, simply. Finally, if you're enjoying the show, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, and also you can find it wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. But YouTube is really the place that it's most dear to me. And if you go over there, subscribe, give it a little thumbs up, and leave a comment, that really means a lot. I really appreciate everyone who's done that so far, and it's just awesome. Just a little brightens my day every time. And if you have any questions at all, I'm at Jeff Sarris on Twitter. Shoot me a DM. I'm always happy to help you with anything business related, and that's why we have the show, to try to help as much as I can. So that'll do it for this week. Again, I'm Jeff Sarris. This has been Starting Now, and I'll see you next time.